Back on.
And here we are with Aaron Khalid. How you doing, my friend? Now,
Not too bad.
we got exciting news. Obviously, we've got the trilogy up in December. Now, one thing I can't get over is after your finish of Micky Stano, phenomenal, by the way, is why you didn't get
Thank
Jamie
you.
Richardson on a last minute, like, stepping up, hazmat sort of style. Was there any sort of talks about that on the actual weekend?
Yeah. I went to bed that night thinking I was going to wake up and be fighting for the middleweight belt, and I had it all planned out in my head. But then I had to think outside of using my head really. Like the fire mentality was like, yeah, take it. But then they wanted me to defend the belt at middleweight. I'm not a middleweight, so I was like, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to stay at middleweight. I'll rather wait for the welterweight belt. So the business terms of it didn't really go through. But I wanted it, 100%. I wanted it. I was so buzzing going to bed that night.
Now, this is the interesting thing in itself, then, because obviously you're training all this time for the fight itself. And now, as soon as that's over and done within 30 seconds, 40 seconds or something, you're like, okay, now the next one straight away. I have no time to appreciate what you've just done. And in itself, interesting enough, you've already beaten Jamie Richardson as well at welterweight. I mean, that's a bit of an interesting one going up a weight. Like, when you fought in the first time, how did you feel that sort of strength differential? Would you feel as much in it at that point?
No, because once it hit the deck, he pretty much gave me his back. So I didn't really, and I think the weight cut for him was more of a struggle than it is for me. So he might have been weaker than he actually is. His home might be at middleweight now. But I wasn't too worried about the size difference going into it either. I knew I could be more technical than him, and I knew I could beat him.
I mean, this is it as well. So you got Jamie, also Adam Proctor, the best fight name in the world, I think. Love Dr. Proctor when you were beating him. Now, so now you got the welterweight title, because obviously Mason's gone to the UFC. Been interesting one to see what happens next with that. Is there anything you can confirm for Trilogy? You can sort of disclose it.
I've been given a date and an opponent, but nothing contracted or nothing confirmed 100%. So I'm just gonna wait on that. But this is the closest I've got to it. I've been given a date and an opponent, so it should be on the 11th, which I imagine is the Friday. That's as much as my news as I got.
Oozing with suspense. I can't wait, buzzing for it. Now, regards to the whole Micky Stano camp in itself, obviously throughout COVID, everything's all been a bit ropey anyway. How sort of specific around him was it? Because again, the nature of people pulling out, that kind of stuff, was it just business as usual your preparation for him, or was it very tailored around his sort of style? What sort of preparation was it?
It was just my preparation up until the last 2 weeks, where I have that time to take off training and just focus on the weight cuts, where I can sit down and watch him and discuss it with my coaches. And then we kind of worked on what my strengths would work off his strengths. So our game plan was perfect for him. We knew he was going to come off through a left hook, right hook, and get startled by something big. So it was either going to be a knee up the middle, where I thought he throws left or right again. I'm going to throw that knee. He didn't, so I threw the head kick and he shot in. So it was perfectly timed. We knew he was going to give his neck up. So it was really the last 2 weeks of camp where we sat down and watched him, really.
Now, that's the sort of interesting thing. Similar to sort of Ben Askren's situation, where you sort of see, okay, the same entry every single time, okay. So on paper, it should be this clockwork kind of thing. And, when it pans out that way, it's just magic. Now, when it actually all locked up.
It was like a little movie scene happening. It was great.
And this is it. And obviously, when you got the choke sort of locked up in the first place, did you already know you had it dead to rights? Or was it a bit okay, this is almost too good to be true? What was the actual experience like at that point?
I had it. I don't know. I can't talk for how Stanton felt, but it felt like I had it tight straight away. And I think if I went balls to the wall with him, maybe I would have got him. But my last fight, I had it with Lahore, went balls to the wall, forgot the position, and he got out of it. So I kind of knew he was going to turn into it, so I kind of used it with him to get to that kind of dogfight position with him. And then I knew I just locked it up from there.
Now, this is an interesting thing with the Lahore sort of fight, because again, having watched that a few times, obviously they're quite back and forth. Again, sort of exchanging positions, very sort of submission orientated. Now, regardless of sort of your style and your sort of training with that, I was training with Lou Long as well, very much submission style submission style MMA. How much in your sort of priority of things is always position for submission then? Or is it a case of I've got it dead to rights, I'm going to fall to my back and, hope for the best? Where's your sort of head with that kind of thing?
It used to be just go for the submission, because when you're grappling with guys like Lou and Wing, the submissions don't come often, so you don't see them. So as soon as you see it, you jump for it. Where now I think as a team, we've come along to respect the position more, which throughout this Stanton camp was to position more, hence why I didn't rush the choke. I knew I only rolled when I knew I had it fully locked up. There was no way he was getting out of it. So I think you'll see that in this next fight as well. I think you'll see me more calm, patient. The same with Ben Ellis, the same with Lou when he fights on Bellator. You'll see a lot of our how good our gym is at grappling.
Now, this is kind of the beauty of it. This application is a huge thing there because, again, as standalone grapplers, you've certainly got your own like credentials there. But then again, it's the applying it in MMA and obviously staying in sort of dominant positions and the overall thing. And this is why it's interesting to see that development. And again, this is why I was so impressed with that performance because, again, you had that back and forth with Lahore and making those sort of errors that end up losing your position to then go against McStanton and then keeping the position. Because, again, much as you were taken down, it wasn't a case of, okay, I'm going to settle. Because you get people, okay, I'm on my back, get nice and comfy, get my guard, and just, sit the rest of the round and make sure I lose nice and comfortably.
Yeah.
But no, you make sure you had position. Again, it was really interesting seeing that development. Now, regards to the review of that, obviously such a clean clinical performance, what do you take back from that fight in the sense of like after action sort of report kind of thing? Like again, if you lose, you watch the tape back, you have a bit of cry and a study. What does a win look like for you regards to reviewing the whole process?
I should have got taken down so easy. Like I kind of relied on getting that chin strap and getting that one hook in, which I did, and then we kind of worked in my favor. But I relied on that too much. Like I seen the shoot come in, I could have counted him or maybe moved off, not let him get it. But I was too accepting it. That's the only negative on my side I could see. Apart from that, it's just everything else was flawless. Really, winning with the choke. So. It's hard to reflect on 28 seconds.
But hey, 28 seconds is a long time, no matter who you ask, don't worry. But anyway, that's a personal attack. That's fine. I'll cry about that afterwards. But that's more so much your own internal kind of, okay, not so much critique and sort of putting yourself down, but more so, okay, how did I feel going into this? What did I do well in the camp? What didn't I do? Because again, once you get the result, it's very easy to sort of say, oh, everything was fine. The kebabs I had
the camp was perfect. The camp was perfect. There was nothing where if he beat me, I could have been like, oh, this blah 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 because of this. There was nothing. That camp was flawless. I knew he weren't going to beat me. I knew the strength of my mentality I had going into it as well was the best I've had in a while. I knew he can. There was no chance of him beating me in that fight. Whether I beat him in the first round, second round, or third, I was never going to be the guy getting dominated. So it was perfect. I'm hoping for the next fight, this camp's going to go flawless again. I got no doubt it will. So, yeah.
Whether you leave it looking pretty still. And this is an interesting one as to how did COVID affect your camp out of the ordinary sort of thing? So what did you feel you managed to, I don't know, what made this camp that bit more sort of glued together, a bit more solid, did you feel? Like what was different for this camp post another one? Like regards to things you could do, things you couldn't do, this, that, and the other?
Well, when it first happened, the gym's closed. It sucked. Like I was doing like kettlebells and running and shit like everyone else was, but I got bored of that and I realized I can't do this. I need that that like one-on-one contact kind of aggression kind of thing. So I did start grappling with my two little boys quite a lot, but at the end of the day, they're boys. And then the gym's opened back up. We went back to it, and I think everyone kind of had that mentality of they needed it. So they kind of relit a flame in the whole team. So everyone really got sharp real quick and it brought everyone on. So throughout that camp, everyone's just bringing everyone on. We've got more beginners. We had more beginners coming in. It was bringing more and more people on. So the variety of training partners got better. Like the younger guys coming up now through the mat are amazing. Like through the pro team doesn't represent really what the amateur team can do. The amateur team, they're going to be dangerous once they start hitting the pro teams. So having COVID happen through that camp, but yeah, it was okay. And it's going to be the same going into this camp as well. It's going to be like, I feel like once the gym's back open, because they're not open here in Wales until Monday, and then everyone's going to be sharpening everyone up again. And it's going to be like a flawless camp all over again.
I mean, that is interesting. A really interesting thing you point. Very interested twice. I mean, it's really sort of poignant there. That's sort of where you're highlighting the sort of fire again. Because again, when you've been training as long as you have, and again competing as long as you have, it's easy to sort of stagnate in that sense. So, regards of like, are you one of these people who's always in the gym, regardless of a fight booked or not? Or are you a bit like, okay, I'll only really sort of take it up a notch when it comes to a camp, but I'm always sort of dipping my toe in? Like, where do you sit regards of frequency in the gym, like outside of camp?
I try to be there as much as I can. Like I do have a busy schedule outside of the gym. So whether I'm fighting or not, or competing or not, I will always be there. Like there'll always be someone who needs me, and if they don't need me, I'm there. I can sharpen up my skills, can I? Like I love training. I love being there in the gym with the boys. So yeah, I'm pretty much always there. This is why I prefer competing, like fighting every, say, a month and a half works out perfect for me. Staying in camp. If I go out of camp, I get lazy. I let like my personal life overtake me in my training life, and it's just, you get pudgy. So staying
Body
in
armor.
camp sharpens me up. Like I don't blow up now between camps. My weight stayed perfect. I can fight next week if I wanted to. I could just make weight easily. So staying in camp definitely benefits me.
Now, interesting enough, obviously saying earlier about Jamie Richardson, again, he had quite a nasty weight cut because, again, he's always been between middleweight and welterweight. And you were saying, obviously, you're feeling quite fresh at welter and, again, looking healthy at welter because, again, you got a lot of people who get probably like crackhead kind of Matthew McConaughey, Dallas Buyers Club-esque kind of the jawline.
I've been there when I fought a featherweight. I had all that. The bones under the eye coming over and shit. It was horrible.
Oh, God. But, yeah, again, so it's interesting. So do you make more of a point of not depleting yourself so much? Or are you always staying around the kind of area? Or like, do you feel you need a cut to get that extra sort of level of grip when it comes to fighting?
I don't know. I don't. My body kind of know it sits at a certain weight whenever I get good in camp. Like whenever I turn it up in camp, I'll hover around a big kind of cutish, and then I'll go down to an easy cut kind of weight. So I think my body knows it's going to cut eventually because the closer to the fight, my diet doesn't change too much. It's like little things, and my body will start cutting the weight easy. Like I make weight to welterweight now. Now I've sorted my diet out pretty easy, and I think I can fight the middleweight without the cut and still be as strong, as quick, as good as I am a welterweight.
Yeah, because these conversations always sort of float between the like point of diminishing returns of, okay, I've cut so much, I've not got I've got the strength advantage, but give me a round or two, and maybe that's gone. And this is always a bit of a funny one. So regards of deciding your weight in itself, has this been just a general filter out process? Is it guys in the gym you're sort of referring to? Because again, when you're in a gym, you get different people with different sizes. You get people who don't train that much, who are a lot bigger, aren't that strong, or you get guys who are smaller and just absolutely built like brick shit houses. Like regards of gauging how much to cut, how have you sort of worked out what suits you best?
When I first went to the mat, Lou was a lightweight, and Lou's a pretty big dude, thickly built dude. I went like that. I was like, he's a lightweight, I ain't a lightweight. So I cut down to featherweight, which was horrendous. Like, first time I did it, I think I made weight. And then the second time I did it, I missed weight. I come in like a pound over, something like that. And it was the worst cut ever. So after that, I went back up to lightweight. Lou went up to welterweight. But then I had a period of like a year or two where I couldn't get fights. The people kept pulling out at lightweight a lot. So I took a last minute fight at welterweight and just stayed there really. Had like a fight on a show called Budo, I think. And then Adam Proctor needed an opponent for Cage Warriors. So I stayed at welterweight from the fight at Budo and just made that my home. I've grown into it. I started off going to a lightweight into a welterweight. Now I feel like I'm actual welterweight. Like I've never in my previous interviews, you'll hear me say I don't feel like I'm up there yet, but now I feel like I am a welterweight. I've grown into this weight division.
Now that is a really sort of prominent point because obviously, again, like you don't look outsized at welterweight because again, you get obviously quite big fluctuation. Different guys like Hack and Foss and stuff. Again, they're quite long, quite rangy, quite imposing, and again, you don't look out of place. But this is where that transition becomes a bit of a funny one as to where to make those sort of points. And
I always think it though. I always look across. I'm always like,
go on.
Yeah. Oh no! I was saying I always think I'm undersized. I like look across the cage. I'm like, fuck, this guy looks massive. But as soon as we grab each other, we get hold of each other, then I feel fine. So the eye test, I kind of fail all the time. I think, fuck, this guy looks much bigger than me. I always ask my mates, this guy looks huge compared to me, don't he?
I mean, this is it'd be quite a good one to sort of see what they think of you when you step in there with them. If it's the same kind of conversation, like, oh, now he's a lot smaller than me, or whatever else, or he's fucking massive.
Yeah.
And when it comes to making the sort of moves up a weight, how does your camp change as such? Do you put more emphasis on the S&C? Do you just try and fight the same as normal? Do you try and adapt to the weight division? Like, what does that sort of change look like?
If I was going to move up to middleweight.
No. So like when you
moved
when you're moving up, so obviously from feather to light and then light to welter sort of thing. Again, you know you're going to go up a weight division, does your preparation change in the sense of including more S&C to make up the strength, or is it just trying to just be the better version of you at a healthier weight?
Yeah, and when I first went up to welterweight, it was just eat more food, and then I thought big boys like Houston, and I was like, okay, I need to get stronger this weight, otherwise I need to go back down to lightweight. I don't want to cut back to lightweight, so I did spend a lot of time on strength conditioning and just trying to get myself bigger and stronger, bigger and stronger. Then I kind of went off of that. I went on to like a cardio base of it to move with that weight well, and then now I sit perfectly. So it was a bit of both. It was the S&C, moving up the weight, and just a lot of food until I took my diet more serious.
See, this is where like the transition is a bit of a funny one, because again, how your style then adapts to it. Because if you've got also quite a firm sort of grappling style, again, you have to be strong. Obviously, technically and everything else, but again, the strength is going to be a prime sort of factor there, and then how you apply that in the sort of grappling you go for as well. So it's really interesting to see how you manage to adapt that. In regards to your influence in your camp and your preparation, sort of watching tape, this kind of stuff, is it quite an independent thing? Is it something you do in your own accord? Is it something like Lou helps you out with? Or is it just something you just try and leave until you really have to, or you get bored?
We all kind of help each other out. Like I love watching my opponent. I love trying to figure things out. But I also ask the other boys at the gym. I'll ask Lou and I'll ask Wayne. I'll like mention what I've seen and see if they've watched it. And most of the time they have. So that's great that we all watch it and we can all work on a great game plan for whoever we fight. Like all the boys do it. So we got Lou, we got Wayne, we got Jimpy, we got Ben. They all love watching and studying fights together. So yeah, makes for flawless game planning, really, don't it?
Now, when it comes to your game planning, how intricate is that? Because again, obviously you're saying about Micky Stano's sort of style, and again, it was very much quite specific. Again, those specific combinations to the same sort of setup. And again, is it very much that sort of detailed, or is it a case of, oh, if I've got like, I don't know, a hook and I'm going to go for this specific sort of sweep or Kimura, this, that, and the other? Is it just keeping the feet taken down? How intricate is this game plan normally?
Like it just works on your strengths. Like we knew he was going to do that, which would work in my favor in certain chokes because I'm good. I'm real good at chokes like a noodle arms. I find the neck very easy. So, but if he had a like his strength was where my weakness is, where we kind of would switch the game plan up. So it's not so much on what he can do as what we could benefit from what he can do, which I hope that makes it easy to understand. But that just comes from the studying of the fight and working with the strengths and knowing what boys are good at what in the gym.
Now, with that then, so obviously you've got your game plan there, and obviously you're going to try and stick to that throughout your camp. Are you going to get people trying to imitate the sort of styles then? Have you got your makeshift Micky Stano in the gym, the sort of thing, okay, start putting a bit of a Scouse accent, we'll try and make this work? Or is it just, okay, I'm going to try against all different styles and make it work, what I want to try and impose?
No, it's just everyone fights at what they're good at, everyone does what they're good at. You kind of know who, say we go around the gym, because we've got that many people, no one is the same. So you kind of, every different partner you go with, you got to kind of make a game plan quick in your head for this guy. So we didn't have people coming in and talking shit in a Scouse accent and trying to throw bombs at me, but no. It would have been nice to prepare better, but...
Very specific. No. Just go around Merseyside, sort of making some noises, you'll be all right. Anyway, we won't get into political and the whole lockdown stuff. Yeah. Let's move on quite swiftly from that. So regards of like post-fight, again, this transition period, so you just come off your win, injury-free, happy days. You got your next fight looking for December, you got your date sorted, no opponent sorted. Do you have a bit of a deload sort of session? Are you taking things down? Are you hitting the ground running still whilst you've got momentum? Like, what's your transition between these camps? Because obviously you said you've got quite a busy personal life as well. Like, what does your training look like from the fight just go on to the next one coming up?
At the moment, is fuck all because Wales is on like a 2-week lockdown, isn't it? But it'll be hit the ground running again, and just my diet. That's the only thing I need to change. Like, I don't eat a lot of junk food like I used to, so it's just not as much. I'll just cut down on the food I do eat. So it'll just be mostly that. But you hit the ground running again and just be flat out again. Like if I didn't have a fight, I wouldn't diet so much, so my body wouldn't get more weaker and it'd be easier to recover.
Now, you've touched on a very prominent area there. What is the junk food? What is the old vice? What makes him King Khalid? Go on, talk to me. What's the junk food looking like? This is old school.
Sweets. I love sweets and chocolate. Sweets and chocolate. And gotta go with Five Guys as well. But since like March, since like the whole year now, I haven't had Five Guys, and it's honestly, it kills me. It does kill me. But sweets and chocolate are my go-to, really. I got a whole drawer next to my bed full of just sweets and junk food. The boys try to get in there. I'm like, no, you can't get in there. You can't get in there. It's mine.
Now, professional athlete, professional details. I want to know the sweets. I want to know the chocolate. I want to know the Five Guys order. And the best part, side note, anyone post-lockdown, Cage Warriors at the Indigo. There's Five Guys in the O2 Indigo. So that's the best cards to go and watch. But yeah, crack on.
The sweets and chocolate are there, just whatever really. I'm not fussy. As long as it's sugary and as long as it's chocolatey, boom, I'll have it. And Five Guys orders. Oh, it's been ages since I've ordered one. You got to go with a double with the cheese. I can't remember if I have bacon or not. I don't think so. Lettuce, onions, the whole shebang in terms of like the salad and stuff. And yeah. Well, I gotta have it in front of me to see what I'm ordering, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna be ordering straight after my fight. Definitely, if it's open, 100%.
Oh, that's the dream as well. That sounded good. Most important one though: Cajun or regular fries?
Cajun.
That's it. He knows how
bit
it's
of
done.
extra sauce, let him shake round for a bit. Boom.
Oh,
Gotta get a milkshake as well.
Oh, he's got the details. I'd love to see it. This is a middleweight. We'd love to see it. Now, regards to the frequency of your training and everything else going on in the world, how do you sort of, I don't know, what would you say your advice to regards to longevity? Because again, obviously, there's the competitive like development, there's the injury prevention, there's general burnout, fatigue, life outside of the gym. How have you found you've kept your consistency throughout all your time training?
It's just finding a schedule and a good routine to work around. Me and the missus and the kids got a good routine going on with work and stuff as well. Like everything just fell into place after like a shit couple of weeks kind of thing. So yeah, it's just having a good balanced routine between personal life and training, which I feel the best I have, like mentally and physically. Like I don't feel like I get injured. Like there's not a time I've gone training where it's like, oh, I don't want to beat it today. Every day we go there, we smash it out. So, yeah,
that's definitely so important, having that kind of divide, because again, the frequency you're doing everything, the intensity doing everything, you need to have that general passion as well. Otherwise, where's it coming from? And with the quality of your sessions and sort of reviewing how you're getting on, the sort of, again, progression is always quite ambiguous at the best of times. Are you on for like journaling, how you get on? Is it chatting to the guys, how you get on? Is it just general feedback? How do you sort of measure your progress?
You kind of cut out asking half that question.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure what the rest of that question was.
So the question was about how do you measure your progress? Because again, it's quite an ambiguous sort of topic. Again, everyone says they're getting better each camp. There's always the same kind of stuff. Do you on for journaling your sessions, like writing after the fact, how you got on? Do you chat to the guys? Is it general feedback from how you get on? How do you measure your progress?
General feedback from the team and whoever I've been like training with. And then it's mainly just around me thinking about it in the shower afterwards, thinking, oh, I did this good today, I did this today, fuck, this guy beat me up this today. It's just put the music on in the background, I'll stand there in the shower, not washing or anything, for like 20 minutes, just thinking about shit.
Just in tears, having a bit of a moment.
Yeah. No, some days, yeah.
And this is it. Listen, my friend, the internet seems to be quite playing up a bit, but we'll have to catch another time. Thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you on the odd socials?
Thank you for having me on. You can find me on Twitter at Khalid MA and Instagram AJ Khalid. And that's about it at the moment. Twitter and Instagram, yeah.
Awesome. Be sure to follow and stay updated with everything Aaron's getting on with. Be sure to check out our sponsors, the English Hypnotist, Rieco Clothing, and the People's IT Company. Links will all be in the description.